So if we know where it is, let's go ahead and track it out downstream. And we want to get a little bit closer look in because we want to track some of these streets that are going to be in the path of the storm here over the next several minutes. Now, this storm is going to be moving very close to these areas in just the next several minutes. So let's track this out. From where it's rotating to about Garland Ponder Road, it's only about 2 miles or about 3 minutes away. That means that your lead time is almost done with this storm. You should already have been in your safe spot taking shelter from this approaching tornado. If you live in extreme southern Rankin County, right around County Line Road and Garland Ponder Road, and really you should be doing it as well if you live south of Puckett, south of Highway 18, right around Highway 13 in southern Rankin County. The storm is only about 4 miles away and moving at about 30 miles per hour. It's going to be there in about 8 minutes' time. Again, this is a tornado that has been indicated on the ground. So I want to show the debris indicator once again so we can kind of track this out. And unfortunately, we are still seeing a debris signature right there, and it is right on the county line of Rankin and Simpson counties. I'm going to zoom out so you can kind of get your bearings straight about where we're talking about. You see the area that's circled, that is the area that some damage is being produced right now by this storm. And in fact, as the radar updates, we can see that that debris signature is actually moving right there towards Highway 13, and it looks like it's mostly now on the Simpson County side of the county line. But still, play it safe. If you're on either side of the county line, you need to be getting into your safe spot. Hopefully you're already there. If you are downstream of this storm, you really don't have too much more time to waste. Go ahead and get into that safe spot and stay there until we can tell you that it is all clear. But right now, I'm telling you that we're not all clear. If you live along Highway 13, south of Puckett, from southeastern Rankin County into Simpson County near the Everett area. So when is this going to be crossing Highway 541? Well, if it's continuing to move to the east at about 30 miles per hour, it's about 3 miles away, and it's only going to take it about 6 minutes. Now, we say continuing to move to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Sometimes these things slow down, sometimes they speed up. So we think it's moving at about 30 miles per hour, but you need to get into your safe spot as soon as possible because the forward motion of the storm could speed up. We've seen severe thunderstorms earlier this evening moving as quickly as 45 miles per hour. So that would give you even less time if you live along Highway 541 and south of Highway 18 in southeast Rankin County, moving into the northeastern part of Simpson County. So don't waste any time. Get to your safe spot. And when I say don't waste time, that means do not bother opening windows. That's not going to do you any good in a situation like this. Let's go ahead and clear out the radar once again. And as the radar continues to update, we are seeing that debris signature, unfortunately, still being indicated right there. Now, crossing Highway 13, it's now on the east side of Highway 13, mostly on the Simpson County side of the county line between Rankin and Simpson County. So, Sasser Drive, Highway 541, Lib Vanderford Road, Dr. McGee Road, and Smith County Road, 129, you're in the path of the storm. Over the next couple of minutes, it's going to be crossing all of those areas that I just mentioned within the next, I would say, 2 to 5 minutes. So we've been talking about Rankin County and Simpson County, but we also have to start talking about Smith County. This warning goes into Smith County, and there you see the panhandle of Smith County. To me, it looks like it's going to go right along the county line, right at the conjunction of all three of the counties right there, Rankin, Simpson, and Smith, right around County Road 129 over the next few minutes. So we're going to zoom out just a little bit, and I want to show you the history of the debris with this storm. Now, this is about the time that this tornado warning was issued, right pretty close to the bottom of the hour at about 9:25, debris signature first being indicated right there, and we can track it out in time. There you can see the debris right around the county line. This was at 9:29, and then as we go forward at 9:31, the debris signature right there. And then as we go into 9:32, there's the debris signature. And now the current time, here's some good news. I'm not seeing much of anything in the way of a debris signature at the current time. Now, I'm not going to say that the tornado was lifted until we get at least another scan or two showing that we don't have any debris there. Hopefully, though, that is the case, although play it safe and get in your safe spot. We think there has been a tornado on the ground for about the past, let's 9:27 to about 9:32:33. So at least for about 5 or 6 minutes, right along the county line of Rankin and Simpson County, there was likely a tornado on the ground producing damage as it crossed Highway 13. But now, again, we're not seeing as much there. Just when we're looking at the debris, if we go back a scan or so, yeah, you can see it there. We go back and forward time, not as much, maybe a little bit of something right there, but I think hopefully this is beginning to lift. But if you live around Show's Road, Highway 541, County Road 129, or Highway 18 at the conjunction of all three of these counties, don't count that it's actually lifted. Go ahead and get into your safe spot and stay there, and at least stay there for a good 15 to 20 minutes until we know that the storm has passed by to your east. And when I say safe spot, again, staying away from windows, but the best place to be is going to be in a basement, in a storm shelter, if you've got that option, somewhere, of course, underground. If you don't have that option, you need to get to the lowest floor of a sturdy structure in a small interior room, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And if you can, get under something sturdy like a table or a desk and cover yourself. Pillows, blankets, put on shoes, put on a helmet if you've got that, in case debris is actually being produced, affecting your property, affecting your house, and glass is breaking. That's going to be the best thing to do in order for you to stay safe when the storm is passing through. I want to take a look at the radar just so we can get an update of exactly where the storm might be, because when we're looking at the debris signature, it's usually a couple of minutes old, what we're looking at. So just by looking at the radar, this is a little bit more current, and we can still see that there's kind of an inflow notch right here, again, right at the conjunction of all three of the counties. So if there's rotation, I'm thinking it's going to be right there, right where you see the radar bulging out right there just to the east of Highway 541. So right now we still have to treat this as if it is a tornado on the ground, because I haven't seen anything that said anything different. Although, let's go ahead and put back on the warning here. Yeah, so there's the warning. I don't think that we've gotten another update from the National Weather Service. Since this was originally put out. The last update that we got from the National Weather Service was exactly at the bottom of the hour at 9:30, and that's when they said that a confirmed tornado was located pretty close to Puckett. That would have been to the east, located near Puckett. Now, remember, this was at 9:30, so this is about 7 minutes ago. It says now that it's moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. Remember what I said earlier, when we first got this warning, it was moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour, but sometimes these things can really speed up, so you don't need to waste time. We're tracking this out as if it's moving at 30, but while we were talking about that, it actually sped up, and now it's moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So it's going to get to all those locations farther to the east even quicker than it would have before. So let's go ahead and change some of the parameters in Live IMAX 12 so we can track this out a little bit more accurately at its current forward motion at about 50 miles per hour. So let's take a look at where our rotation is by looking at our velocity. All right, this I think gives a pretty good indication of it right there. Remember where we had the inflow notch and the area that was kind of jutting out right there, and we said that's where we thought the rotation would likely be right now? Well, again, that's it, I think, right there. The reds and the greens right there on the Simpson County side, now working south of Smith County. Again, right along the county line, but I think that's where the rotation is for the moment. remember now, it's moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour, so even more quickly than before. So we're going to track this out over about the next 15 minutes. And as it works its way from northeastern Simpson County into Smith County, we're looking at these communities now being in the path of the storm. Traxler at 9:44, Raleigh at 9:52, and Shangelo at about 9:54. So if you are in or near those communities that I just mentioned, you have got a storm that could be producing a tornado heading in your direction. I say could be. The last information that we got was that this was a confirmed tornado on the ground. And even though I didn't see a debris signature on the last scan, we're still going to treat this as if it is a tornado on the ground, moving to the east through parts of Simpson and Smith counties. And that is Highway 18 right there that flows from southeastern Rankin into Smith County. And to me, it looks like it's going to move right along the county line. And then once it gets into Smith County, it's going to be moving pretty close and along to Highway 18 as it's heading into the Raleigh area. So we're looking at County Road 503, Georgia Pacific Road, also County Road 539 and 540, and County Road 121. And when I say County Road, we're talking about Smith County Road. So if you live along or near those roads, anywhere to the north or south of Highway 18 in the western part of Smith County, well, this storm is headed in your direction, and you absolutely do need to take shelter right now. Let's go ahead and clear this off. And I want to take a look at the debris signature once again to see if anything else is popping up here. Thankfully, I don't see a good debris signature like we had earlier with this storm. Now, again, we're going to back it up in time, and I want to show you what I'm talking about when I say a debris signature. This was at about 9:27. Then we can trace it out, crossing Highway 13. And that was really the last time we saw a good debris signature was right about there. So I do think that there was a tornado on the ground from about here to about here, right along the county line of Rankin to Simpson. Now, is it still on the ground? I can't tell you that for sure, but we don't have any other updates from the National Weather Service, and we're still seeing a good indication of a rotation, which is right about here right now. So if you live anywhere to the east of there and Raleigh, looks like you're in the path of the storm, you need to be taking a shelter. This is a storm that means business because it has been producing damage earlier this evening, and there's nothing to say that that couldn't happen again. Even if it has lifted, it could strengthen, it could cycle back up and start producing damage once again. So if you are along Highway 18, I would say north of Traxler in the Raleigh area, south of Shangelo, this area right about here, please get into your safe spot and stay there until we say that the storm is away from your area. Now, I can say that if you live in Rankin County, well, the rotation is likely now to the east of you, and you are in the all clear in Rankin County. Can't say that in northeastern Simpson County just yet, but certainly if you're along Highway 13 back towards Highway 49, you may still be hearing the sirens because technically you're under a tornado warning. Nope, I want to correct that. They have updated the tornado warning. And just as I was telling folks that Rankin County, you're in the clear, when they updated the tornado warning, they took Rankin County out of the tornado warning. So if you've been hearing sirens in the Puckett area, those sirens should start to sound down right now because Rankin, you're no longer in this tornado warning. You are in the all clear. But the rotation is right there in extreme northeastern Simpson County. And now it's mostly going to be a Smith County storm over the next several minutes. Let's take a look at the radar once again. We can still see a little notch right there. It's not as pronounced as it once was. That little notch right around the heater area. So the rotation would likely be between Heater and Traxler right there. Now, with the latest warning, I want to see if the National Weather Service is saying that this is still a confirmed tornado, and I'm guessing they're not going to say that. And yes, that is correct. So they have changed this from a confirmed tornado to a radar indicated rotation. So they're seeing the same thing that we are seeing as we are analyzing the storm. They are not seeing a debris signature anymore. So they've changed the characterization of this from confirmed to just radar indicated, which means what has most likely happened, that the tornado was on the ground for about 5-6 minutes and it has lifted. But there is still rotation there, which means the rotation could tighten up and it could touch back down. That's why they are going to continue this warning for this area in the red polygon, mostly in Smith County, over the next several minutes. The expiration time is going to be 10:15 for the current warning, the red box that you're seeing right there, although if it's moving at about 50 miles per hour, and that is still the current forward motion of the storm, I don't think it's going to be in this red box area between now and 10:15. I think it's going to probably be affecting this area maybe for the next 15 or 20 minutes, and then it should be east of Raleigh, at which point we'll see if the National Weather Service will continue this warning and issue another one downstream. But if it doesn't look good, and to me it looks like it is really weakening and the storm is lining out, it's doubtful to me that they are going to continue this farther to the east. But as long as there is still a tornado warning in effect, we're going to be here to get you through the storm. So let's go ahead and take a look at right now the velocity product once again. And just like the other products that we've looked at, this is another indication to me that the storm is weakening. This is our velocity, and I'm going to back it up just a little bit. When the signature was more pronounced, right here at about 9:34, when it was between Highway 13 and Highway 541. This is about the time that the tornado was lifting, but there was still a good indication of rotation there. And you can see that rotation continue right there, right around the conjunction of all three of the counties. And then as it continues to move along the Smith and Simpson County line, you can still see it right about there. But now, where is it? If there's any kind of rotation, maybe it's shifted a little bit farther off to the north here. We're seeing a little bit of a curling right in there. Let's say between Raleigh and Shangelo, headed towards Highway 35. But again, it just does not look as good as it did several minutes ago. So that's a good thing. Taking a look at the radar, there's still some little indentions in the radar right there where that could be some inflow from the storm, and it could be shifting. It could be shifting a little bit farther to the north. So rotation possibly there, possibly a little bit farther to the north. It's really hard to pinpoint because it is beginning to weaken so much. Hopefully that's going to continue, and this is a trend that continues enough that they'll actually cancel the warning a little bit early. But for right now, we are still under that tornado warning for this red box area. So let's zoom in a little bit more, and as we do, we can start to see some of the streets and some of the communities, some of the towns popping up that are near the severe part of this line that is capable of producing a tornado, and the areas that are out ahead of it that should be taking shelter right now. And I'm talking to you if you live in and around the Raleigh area, and if you live in and around Shangelo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but those communities along Highway 18 and then soon to be crossing Highway 35. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at how quickly the leading edge of this is going to cross Highway 35, and it's pretty much right there as we speak. It's only about 2 miles away and now moving at 50 miles per hour. It's only going to take it maybe a little bit more than 2 minutes to cross Highway 35. And remember, what you're seeing here may be a little bit of a delay. There could be about a minute or two delay from what is actually happening in real time to what you're seeing out here on the radar. So if I say you've got 2 minutes, you probably have just 1 minute before the leading edge of this severe line of storms reaches you. And again, the potential for a tornado is still going to be there over the next several minutes. I'm going to zoom out just to see if there's anything else of any concern right along this line. There is a severe thunderstorm warning on the south side of the line. This warning would be issued by the National Weather Service out of New Orleans. It does include parts of Wilkinson County, and if it's continued farther to the east, that would still be in New Orleans' area of responsibility for a mid-county. Now, unfortunately, it looks like they've issued a new warning for Smith and Jasper County. So there's enough rotation there that they're going to keep this going likely for at least the next hour or so. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest with this new warning. Yep, tornado warning until 10:45. The current time is about 9:49, so that's just a little under the next hour. So areas to the east of where we've got that area of rotation, right, they are embedded within this line of strong to severe thunderstorms. There is an embedded rotation still right there. I don't think there's anything on the ground right now. With the new warning, let's go ahead and read this out. Tornado warning for Jasper County and northeastern Smith County. This is still a radar indicated rotation. So at 9:47, the National Weather Service is saying a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Raleigh, moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. This dangerous storm is going to be near Silverine and Center Ridge at about 9:55, Bay Springs and Pineville at 10 p.m., Lewin and Turnerville at a few minutes after 10, Montrose at 10:10, Vernon at 10:15, Paulding at 10:20, and Heidelberg and Stafford Springs at around the bottom of the next hour at about 10:30. So any of these communities that I just mentioned or that's within this red polygon right there, you're under a tornado warning, and now it's your turn to seek your safe spot. Hopefully you've got a predetermined safe spot that you've been thinking about leading up to tonight's severe weather event, and you can get there quickly at a moment's notice and just wait out this storm. Shouldn't be long because it is moving so quickly at about 45 miles per hour. But again, that is a change in forward momentum. It was 50, now it's changed back to about 45 miles per hour. So that's what happens with these storms. Sometimes they slow up and sometimes they speed up. Well, it has slowed down just a little bit from the last update that we got. So if we plug in 45 miles per hour and the rotation is going to be right here, remember near the Raleigh area, and we're going to push this back off to the left portion of the screen, and we're going to track this out over about the next 50 minutes to the edge of the polygon. And here are some of the towns that pop up in the polygon that I just drew. So obviously Raleigh, it's going to be there the next minute or two. It's currently at 9:51. It says it's pretty much there right now at about 9:52. Silverina at 3 minutes after 10 o'clock. Bay Springs at 10:11. Montrose at 10:15. Raz at 10:22. And Heidelberg at about 10:36. So let's go ahead and take a look at the velocity with this. So with our base velocity, we got two different kinds of velocity products. Now, when we say velocity, the velocity is the wind speed in the direction at cloud level within the storm. Now, base velocity also takes into account the forward motion of the storm. So with the radar site being in Brandon, we're mostly seeing winds moving away from the radar site, which is what red indicates. All these winds are moving away because that line of storms is moving to the east away from the radar. So we got all this wind moving away. But if we were to see a little speck of green in this sea of red, that would tell us that we've got actually winds moving in the opposite direction that's fighting all of these winds moving farther off to the east. So what we're looking for in the base velocity product is that little area of green that might be in the sea of red. Now, I'm not seeing a whole lot there. I'm going to back up the radar just a minute or two, and I want to show you that. All right, let me back it up again, and I want to show you that, yeah, see it right there? There's that little speck of green in that sea of red. So all these winds are moving to the east, but in that little green area, it's actually moving in the other direction, which tells us that, yeah, that's where we possibly have rotating winds. Again, this is a radar indicated rotation. So that's our base velocity product. Let's switch over to our storm relative velocity. Now, this takes that forward motion out of the equation. So now we're just looking at the wind relative to the wind inside the storm, and we see a little bit more green and red right next to one another. And the brighter the pixel, usually the stronger the wind. So right there, we're seeing a 50-mile-per-hour wind. Again, it's red, so those are outbound winds moving away from the radar site east of Highway 35. We got green right there that says -5. That means those are 5-mile-per-hour winds moving in the opposite direction toward the radar site. So that's enough to give us a rotation right there east of Highway 35 between Shangelo and Raleigh. There's also a little bit of red and green right there. Not sure that there's two rotations, but there may be with this line. Remember before we were looking at kind of two indentations. Yeah, there we go. There are two indentations within the line. So there may be actually a couple of areas that are rotating right there. You see a little indentation right there, and there's another little indentation right there. So there could be a rotation here, and there could be another one right there. Both may be capable of strengthening and eventually putting down a tornado that produces damage, as happened, I would say, less than 30 minutes ago. Yeah, it was about the bottom of the hour at about 9:30. This line, this segment of this line, we think did produce a tornado right around the Rankin and Simpson County line. Now, this part of the line is in western Smith County, and we've got at least a couple of areas that could possibly be rotating within this line. I don't think that we're seeing anything on the ground right now. We're looking at the debris signature, and there's nothing that really pops out to tell me that there's anything on the ground, and the National Weather Service has categorized this as a radar-indicated rotation. But it's still a rotation, still capable of producing a tornado, and we still need to treat it as if it could produce a tornado as it's moving toward your area. So again, let's track this out. Once again, I'm going to use something a little bit different here. I'm going to plug in 45 miles per hour, and we're just going to track out this entire line right there off to the east over about the next 20 minutes or so. So that's eventually going to take it into Jasper County. So it's in central Smith right now, moving towards eastern Smith and eventually crossing the county line into Jasper. Silverina, it's going to be here in your area right at the top of the hour at about 2 minutes after 10 o'clock. So again, not a lot of lead time, but that's the whole reason that we're on the air right now, is to warn folks before the storm gets to them so they can be safe, to give you as much lead time as possible before the rotating part of the storm actually reaches you. So in Silverina, 2 minutes after 10 o'clock, again, what you're seeing here may be a minute or two delayed. So 7 minutes at best, but I would really say you've got about 4 to 5 minutes before the worst of this line is over your area and beginning to cross over into Jasper County. Now, Lewin, you got a little bit more time, but not a whole lot. It looks like Live Max 12 is estimating that this storm is going to be in your area at about 10 minutes after 10 o'clock. It is now about 9:57. So technically that gives you 13 minutes. I would not wait 13 minutes if you live in and around Lewin to get to your safe spot. Do it as soon as possible. And then in about 20 minutes, hopefully this is going to be to the east of you and you'll be able to get out of that safe spot. But here's a look at the entire line. Once again, we're just going to turn on the radar and let's turn on the watches and the warnings. There is let's see if we can highlight the tornado watch, because I have a feeling that, yeah, some of these counties that were originally in the tornado watch, because the line is progressing farther to the east, a lot of these counties to the west here have been taken out, where the rain has come to an end. There's no longer any threat in our Delta counties anywhere northwest of the Big Black River. They're still going to hold on to the watch along and east of that line until midnight tonight. And this line has been severe all evening long with severe thunderstorms, with gusty winds, large hail. We've seen up to quarter-sized, ping pong ball sized, even an estimate of 2-inch in diameter hail coming from this line earlier this evening. Now, I don't think hail is going to be as much of an issue a little bit farther to the south down this line, but still, there's going to be a potential for gusty winds, heavy rain, and dangerous lightning. And the farther north you go, there's going to be a better potential of embedded rotations, which is the reason, of course, that we are on the air right now, because there is an embedded rotation within this line, and we think it did produce a tornado about a half hour ago when that storm was right about this area right here, right around that county line of Rankin and Simpson. We tracked a debris signature for about 6 minutes or so along the county line, right there east of Highway 49, and approaching Highway 13. So we know that there's something happened there, but that same line is now progressing eastward through Smith County, and ultimately it's going to be heading into Jasper County as well. And there's still a rotation there. Even though something may not be on the ground right now, there's still a rotation, which means we still have to take cover and we still have to get into your safe spot over the next several minutes. Let's check out velocity once again to see if anything stands out. Now this, remember, is our base velocity product. This is that sea of red. All the wind is moving with the rain off to the east, away from the radar site. So we see a sea of red here. I don't see any green though. So that's a good sign that we're not seeing any winds moving in the opposite direction toward the west, toward the radar site. So that's a good sign. Let's take a look at our other velocity product. When we're looking at our storm relative velocity, we do see some reds and greens right along the leading edge of that line, moving right along Highway 501 now, well to the east of Raleigh. So if you're along County Road 501 or Highway 501 in Smith County, now we're talking about central transitioning into eastern Smith County. That's where we've got some rotation on the leading edge of this line of severe thunderstorms, now moving to the east at about 45 miles per hour. So let's track it out again. This is the leading edge of the line that is likely severe and that's got the rotation. We're going to track it out to the east over the next, let's take it out to the east over the next 25 minutes. So this is going to take it across the Smith-Jasper County line and well into Jasper County. So some of the same places that we've been talking about and at some of the same arrival times. Silverina at 2 minutes after 10 o'clock. Well, it's 10 o'clock right now. And what you're seeing, again, is delayed by a minute or two. So really the storm should be right over Silverina in the Silverina Attendance Center. Maybe you've got a few more minutes if you live in Stevens and in Lewin and in Raz and in Fuke. I guess that's how that's pronounced. But it's going to be moving through that area in the 10 o'clock hour from 2 minutes after 10 to about 10:22. Now, we just saw the radar update. Unfortunately, to me, it looks like it is maybe just a little bit more pronounced than it once was. Again, we're looking at the storm relative velocity, so let's query this. And we've got wind speeds moving toward the radar site this way, and then we've got winds moving away from the radar site. That's wind moving out in this direction. So I know these wind speeds don't look that impressive, but as long as there is an indication of rotation there, the National Weather Service is likely going to hold on to this tornado warning, since this has, we think, produced a tornado warning earlier this evening. The storm has a history of producing damage. So still rotation right there. So as we zoom in, you're going to see more of the areas, more of the roadways, more of the communities that are possibly going to be affected by this storm over the next few minutes beginning to pop in there. So we're really focusing in on Highway 501 in Smith County, but some of the smaller roads to the east of there, this storm is going to be tracking over you in the next few minutes. Smith County Road 128, County Road 101, County Road 52, 107, 105, and 131, and County Road 13 as we transition from Smith into Jasper counties. All right, so this storm is headed to the east at about 45. Let's track it with our tracker here over the next 25 minutes. Lewin, Montrose, Raz, and Waldrop. These are the places that we're looking at right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at just the radar, and I want to turn on the lightning because sometimes the lightning can be a really good indication. Even though the lightning specifically doesn't make a storm severe, it obviously is a dangerous aspect of severe weather. And sometimes when we see a lot of lightning strikes clustered in one area, that tells us that there's a lot of motion in the atmosphere. There's a lot of chaos being produced that's setting off all that lightning. But what I can tell you is just by looking at the lightning, there doesn't seem to be a good cluster of lightning strikes where we are looking at the rotation. Most of those lightning strikes are well on the back side of this. So To me, that would tell me that this is not a very strong storm. Remember, the wind speeds that we saw were not very impressive. The lightning is well behind where the potential rotation is. So this is a weak rotation at best, and I don't think that it's on the ground right now. But again, the National Weather Service holding on to that tornado warning, and they're going to hold on to it for a while, because you see this red box here, that red polygon, that is where we have a tornado warning. Let's go ahead and query it until 10:45. Current time is about 4 minutes after 10 o'clock. So we got about 41 more minutes on this tornado warning as it transitions from Smith County into Jasper County. Now, Smith County is in the WJTV viewing area. Jasper County is not. So when we ultimately transition this storm from Smith County to Jasper County, we're actually going to continue. I think, Jeremy, we can maybe tell the producer and the director that we'll probably cut out and start our newscast whenever this storm does cross into Jasper County. And it should just be a few minutes away. And obviously for our viewers in Hattiesburg, WHLT, we're going to keep you posted about what's happening with this storm as it moves from west to east across Jasper County during the course of our WJTV newscast. But it's going to be out of our viewing area in WJTV in probably about the next 10 to 15 minutes, I would say, if not sooner than that. So we're going to keep a track of it until at least about a quarter after 10 o'clock, at which point we'll begin our newscast. But right now, we're going to stay with this as long as there is a tornado warning in our viewing area. So where would the tornado be? Just if we're looking at it on the radar. And what we're looking for is this little indentation. That's where the warm, unstable air is being brought into the storm, and there where you see it jutting out right there, if there's a rotation, it's going to be right there. I think east of Highway 501 and north of Silverina, quickly moving toward the Smith and Jasper County line. So these communities to the east of there, it's moving to the east at about 45 miles per hour. So you need to be concerned about this if you live in Lewin or Stevens or Raz, and along Highway 15 and along Highway 18 in Jasper County. As the radar updates, we can see what's happening there. Let's clear this off, and there you've got that little indication right there. And there's a little hole right there. Sometimes when a tornado is very strong, we can see what is called a donut hole with this. I don't think that's happening with this storm, although, again, I do want to look at, looking at the velocity, I don't think that's what's happening here. It would be really obvious when we looked at our velocity product, and that's just not the case. This is our base velocity showing all the wind moving to the east on this product. Now let's take a look at our storm relative velocity. And we do see a better indication here. You see the greens and the reds right next to one another. So there's still a rotation there, and it's quickly approaching the Smith and Jasper County line. So again, move into the east at 45. If it's pretty close to the county line, it's going to be crossing Highway 15 near the Lewins area. I would say between Stevens and Lewin in just the next few minutes. It's about 4 miles away. It's going to take about 5 minutes for it to get to your area if you live in those communities, or if you live in the rural part of Jasper County, anywhere along Jasper County Road 1525, Highway 15, north of County Road 1523 or 1519, or crossing County Road 13 in the north and western part of Jasper County. You've got the leading edge of a severe line moving in your direction that is capable of producing a tornado that does have some radar indicated rotation. And as we are saying that, let's clear this up so you can see the very latest. You can see how it's transitioning there to the east. We still have the greens and the reds right there. I want to take a look at the other velocity product. Just a red. That's a good sign, but on our storm relative velocity, we've got the greens and the reds right next to one another. Let's take a look at the reflectivity. And again, we see like a little indentation right there, and there's vacant area right there. So if there's a rotation and if there's a tornado at all, I'm thinking it's going to be right on the county line of Smith and Jasper County right now. Speaking of which, let's take a look at our debris indicator. Now, this would be the best indication that there was actually a tornado on the ground if we see any kind of debris being produced by the storm. I'm going to back it up over the past several minutes, and then we're going to track this out to the east. And again, I'm not seeing anything here that's obvious in terms of a debris ball or any kind of indication that debris is being produced right now. So that's a good sign. Let's take a look at the warning, and I just want to make sure that this is still being classified as a radar indicated rotation. So I'm going to query this, and the last update was at 9:48. That's when this warning was originally issued, and it's still classified as a radar indicated rotation. Also, by the way, the storm, they say, is capable of producing some smaller sized hail. So let's go ahead and take a look and see if we've got any hail that's been produced by this storm. Yeah, you can see on Live Eye Max 12, this is our hail tracks. This is where we possibly had hail that was being produced by the storm over the past couple of hours. And there you see some kind of small hail over southeastern Rankin County, the panhandle of Smith County. But over the past few minutes, not really seeing anything, although the National Weather Service is saying that this is capable of producing about 3/4 inch in diameter hail, which is about penny-sized hail. So that's something else to watch out for as this storm is moving through. Again, where is it? Just by looking at the radar. Let's take a look at the lightning as well. Not seeing clusters of lightning strikes. There are a few lightning strikes out there, but only just a few. So that's good. We don't want to see clusters of lightning strikes, indicating a strengthening storm, a storm with more motion in the upper levels. That would be bad. So we're not seeing that, so that's a good sign. We do, however, still see that little notch beginning to transition into Jasper County. And again, if there's a rotation, I think it's going to be right in and about there, just to the west of Lewin and Stevens, to the west of Highway 15, right around the Smith and Jasper County line, moving to the east at about 45 miles per hour. So let's zoom in. This is soon just going to be a Jasper County storm. Let's clear this off. The radar is updated, and I believe that if there is rotation and if there is going to be anything that's going to touch down, it's going to be right in this area right here. So let's zoom in. That's where the rotation is, just a mile or two to the west of Lewin, moving quickly towards Lewin and Highway 15. But where is it going to go from here? Well, if it's moving at about 45 miles per hour, it's only about a minute away from crossing the highway, and it is about 12 miles, or about 15 minutes away from crossing Highway 18. I believe this is in Jasper County. So that does give you some lead time if you're in this part of the county, but you really don't have a whole lot of time if you're around Lewin, if you're near Montrose, if you're along Highway 15, you should have already gotten into your safe spot because this storm is right over your area right now. Again, it's going to transition here totally in the next few minutes into Jasper County. And when it does, we're going to sign off and we're going to continue with our newscast on WJTV. Let's target that for about 10:15, so about 3 minutes from right now. I'm going to send it over to Jeremy to start our newscast. And then, of course, for our viewers in Jasper County on WHLT, we're going to continue to keep you posted on this storm as we go through the remainder of our newscast. But I want to tell you that it seems to be a weak rotation at the moment, and we're not seeing any kind of debris signature, and the National Weather Service has classified this as a radar indicated rotation. So everything that I am seeing is telling me that at the moment, there's likely not a tornado on the ground, but because the rotation is there, there is still a potential for that to happen, and that's why the National Weather Service is holding on to this warning. All right, and it looks like there is yet another warning that has been issued, but again, that's going to be a little bit out of our viewing area, so there's likely another rotation a little bit farther up the line. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. It's really messy here. What we have been talking about all evening is right there. You see that notch? That's where we think the rotation is approaching Lewin, but there are several notches on the leading edge of this line a little bit farther to the north. So let's take a look at the newest tornado warning, and let's query that and get the specifics about what's happening right there. So let's query this warning a little bit farther to the north. There's a tornado warning there for until 11 p.m. This is for northern Jasper County, but also southern Newton County, Clark County, and Lauderdale County. That's where Meridian is, and that's going to be until 11 p.m. This is, once again, a radar-indicated rotation moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. What they're saying is that there was a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Roberts or 8 miles to the southwest of Newton. So let's go ahead and zoom into the Newton area, and let's see how far 8 miles away from Newton is. Yeah, you see that right there? It's right around the county line of Newton County and Jasper County. So there's another part of this line, the leading edge of this line, has got a rotation which is straddling the county line of Jasper and Newton counties near Garlandville. And again, this is moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So let's track this out through at least, let's say, the rest of Jasper County, which is in our WHLT viewing area. And over the next 23 minutes, this is going to be moving near the communities of Baxter, Garlandville, Penalty, and Rose Hill from 10:16 until 10:31. But again, this is a little bit farther to the east of us, and I think that other rotation, as the radar continues to update, is going to be right there crossing Highway 15, right around the Lewin area, and this other rotation is going to be right there, right around the county line of Newton and Jasper counties. But neither one of these are in the WJTV viewing area. In fact, here's some good news that one that we were tracking since we've been on the air for the past hour or so, that warning, it looks like, has been canceled. So remember what we were saying about the apparent weakening of that storm? We couldn't really see anything on the debris signature. We couldn't see much of anything on our velocity product. Well, it weakened enough that the National Weather Service, they canceled that tornado warning farther south. But here's a new warning. Farther to the north up the line, there's another rotation. But again, this is much farther away from our area, and it's moving away from the area. So because of that, we are going to sign off for right now, unless we get another warning, another tornado warning for our viewing area. We're going to sign off for right now, and we're going to start our newscast on WJTV. So with that being said, I'm going to send it over to Jeremy Harrell.